try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody and stained from the people who...
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, Heroclix Nation. I'm here because there are a lot of teams out there that are kind of scaring me at the moment, and this is just one of them. We are going to try to build an Avengers team because we have some great Avengers sets coming out. I do expect a lot of Avengers in Spider-Man Beyond Amazing, as well as some Spider-Man family stuff that might accentuate the Avengers or Spider-Man family or symbiotic traits or stuff out there that will help theme teams out a lot. And those are the first two sets that we're getting since the rules changed. So I do expect some things out there that might help these new pieces become more competitive with the old pieces that have the high range and the high move and attack stats. So looking at this, this is the team that I'm talking about, guys. So what doesn't scare me about having a Scarlet Witch and a Venom Magneto is that they don't get to choose map and go first. So if I see myself looking at a build sheet that has Venom Magneto and Scarlet Witch and then Kazar or Mad Jim Jaspers, something along those lines, I know there's ways around that. Like if it's a Mad Jim Jaspers, I can shoot out the objects on the map so that Scarlet Witch can't angle out to me turn one. And if it's Venom Magneto and Scarlet Witch with Kazar, I know I can put them on a big map, and then Scarlet Witch is kind of stuck in my starting area where I can use my Scarlet Witch to go ahead and Chaos Market their Scarlet Witch. So I have ways to work around a turn one Scarlet Witch with an Avengers theme team that I wouldn't have with most other teams. Now the Batman team does have a workaround that I found. If you put the smoke cloud marker underneath her and then roll the utility belt over to plasticity, she really has no way to get away unless you haven't shot out all the objects or there's a wall there that she can angle to, something along those lines. But if you can do that, there's really no way for Scarlet Witch to get away from Batman's plasticity. And then you can take something like a World's Finest or a Venom Wolverine over there and just hit Scarlet Witch for their base damage. That being said, you will have to have like a Bat Jaro on there so that you can outwit the stock click, outwit her senses, outwit her shape change, everything along those lines to make sure you get those 75 points. It's a little bit more difficult, but it is very easy to do, considering, Scarlet Witch is usually a pain to deal with. But when she's in your starting area, there's a lot that you can do there. Another strategy that you might want to think about if you don't really have any of those pieces or any real way to combat a turn one Chaos or Rune Marker from Agatha Harkness or Scarlet Witch, you can space out your force. So, especially on a small map, you have so much area along the rim that you can space out your force, every 2 characters or 3 characters, making sure that they're at least 4 squares away from the TKers, your attackers are at least, that they can go out and make an attack against this Scarlet Witch if she does decide to come up. That is, probably the main way to combat a turn 1 Chaos or Rune Marker, because it's only getting 3 squares of your starting area. So as long as you can get your pieces, separated enough where you can make some attacks with some decent damage dealers, there are ways around the Scarlet Witch Chaos Marker. What worries me about this team is that it is themed. So they are going to be able to choose whether to go first or choose map against you. If they are able to choose map and put you on a small map after looking at your force, depending on what you want to play, they're going to choose one or the other. Now, this team does not have a turn 1 Chaos Marker ability on a big map with the original 2x12 starting area or whatever it is, but it does have the capabilities on a small map. And if they can force you to play on a small map, they're forcing you to stay out of at least 9 squares of that 16x16 square map. Just real quick math, 16 times 16, if you guys can do that in your head. I'm not sure what that is. 16 times 16. This 160, 220, 252, 252 squares, 9 squares out of 252. That's still not a lot, but it's more than it is on a 16 by 24 map. And my math is probably off there. Somebody can correct me in the comments. We're all math whizzes here. We know how to count squares. But going through this team real fast, it is Scarlet Witch with Kazar. So you will also have the Zabu bystander out that will be able to bait the opponent. And then this one goes with the Doctor Strange Saturnine route. So kind of like a pseudo double TK, but it is able to make it themed so that this team can choose to go first or choose the map. So Saturnine alone is insanely powerful because they can bring 2 sets of tarot cards to the game depending on what they see on your team, or if this team goes up against a mirror or something like that, Saturnine is insanely good in that capacity. And that's without mentioning that it's a +1 perplex to a single attack or +1 defense to a single attack. So she's also insanely good. All of her flavor text is there if you want to read it and what she does. If you want to pause here and look at that, she does do a lot. If you haven't seen it, that 8 range is insanely good as well. She could take the Darkhold or something like that. Like, as you can see, we are 25 points under on this team, so there's definitely some finagling around here that we could do. I went ahead and put Blackheart on this team, and I've been playtesting against this team, guys, and this team is insanely powerful. What I like about Blackheart here is that it's a range attacker. If you put something like a Grand Prize APOC or an Arachnite here, they have to come up close, and there's no way to come up close on a follow-up to Scarlet Witch's Chaos Marker drop without being in the Chaos Marker if you do a turn 1. So Blackheart's able to come up turn 2 as long as Scarlet Witch survives that first volley of attacks. Blackheart's able to come up and do his punchingness thing. It also gives him 2 turns to grab that leadership role. So this team is insanely powerful. We're going to try to build an Avengers team against it. I had this over on Clicks Nexus. Let's head over to HC Realms. As you can see, I'm still working on Batman. I'm not really there yet, so I don't really want to bring it up here. But if you guys got a quick look at that, it's almost there. It is almost there. There's some work around stuff that I kind of need to add to it for it to work. I'm not sure if Green Lantern Batman Smoke Cloud is good anymore because Smoke Cloud can be TK'd. So if he puts that free Smoke Cloud marker under somebody and then rolls onto Plasticity, and not only can they TK that character out of that square, but they can also TK that Smoke Cloud marker somewhere else that might be detrimental to your team. That's just something that, Prime Batman really took a step back with these rules. I don't really see any positives that he gained from the rules changes. He is definitely he's probably not a top 5 Prime anymore. I don't know if he was before. 25 points for the Green Lantern team ability, Batman team ability, Barrier, free Smoke Cloud, and pretty much anything else. If that doesn't land you on the top 5 Prime list, I don't know what will, but in today's meta, it really doesn't, especially with Emperor Gladiator taking such a huge step up. Prime Gamora took a big step up as well. So Green Lantern Batman does need some work. That team definitely does. We're going to start our Avengers team, though, like we do every Avengers team, with the Scarlet Witch at 75. Ooh. Come on, there we go. Scarlet Witch at 75, Sicarian Iron Man at 50, and Hope Summers at 40. I don't like starting out my Avengers team with a swap. Now, there are definitely reasons to do a swap. I mean, Hope Summers is 40 points, so she's a 1-for-1 swap for Captain America anyways. Same with the uncommon Doctor Strange if we decide to go that route. But I don't like starting out with a swap because then that limits what I can't have 2 characters that have the same name. So if I wanted to swap into an uncommon Doctor Strange, I'd have to find a workaround to get the 75-point Doctor Strange for his at the beginning of the game effect, to give somebody, to give two characters really, the Avengers Initiative team ability. So I really want to avoid the swap for now, and this is just going to be a basic Avengers team without the swap in mind. Now, as pieces come out in these next two sets, we're going to start to really see how this team can take a step forward. But this is just a baseline team, guys. And what I really like about these three characters is Scarlet Witch has, the capability to choose PC. Hope can take that from her, right? So all three of these characters have access to at least two of the main three support abilities. But going off of this, Avengers, I feel like a piece that Avengers teams, what really gives them a bump with the new rules is the Legacy Jarvis. And this team, I'm not going to say it's a budget team, guys, because Scarlet Witch is so heavy on the price line. And Jarvis, I feel like if you don't have him, go out and get him while he's cheap. I feel like he's going to jump in price because he can just erase a terrain marker within 4 squares. And that's a free action to do, so you can just carry him up. He says, boop, your elevated terrain's gone, knockback damage. He also only takes 1 click of damage whenever he's adjacent to an Avenger. Keep in mind that is outwittable, so you do want to keep him in that stealth for that extra protection for that defensive power. Another thing that I do want to add to this team is Miss Kang. We have a lot of access to PC on this team already, but Miss Kang, what I really like about her is she has that 19 defense, pretty 19 defense on top dial. She's insanely hard to kill, and that's kind of a theme with all of this. Hope Summers, being the easiest character to kill on this team, does have Mastermind, so she could Mastermind off to Jarvis, who would only take 1 damage because he is adjacent to a character with the Avengers team ability. So she could also Mastermind to Miss Kang's bystanders if they're there. And that's the easiest character on this team to KO outside of Jarvis if they're able to outwit his defensive power, which hopefully they're not able to do. The main character that would be able to do that is Scarlet Witch with her improved targeting, hindering, and the Darkhold. But I digress, guys. With this, we're 50 points under, and we can go a couple different directions here. So just thinking about turn 1, I have an alpha. I definitely have an alpha with Sicarian Iron Man. So Sicarian Iron Man can choose running shot, TK him out 4 squares. He's got the cloak, so we're actually 45 points under. So he's got the cloak with the sidestep, gets him out to square. That's square 7, and then a running shot on a small map. On a big map, it's square 8, and then a running shot of 7 gets him out to square 15 on a big map, or square 16 on a small one. Either way, I'm going to have full map reach on a small map. I will have full map reach with his charge on a big map. It's going to be a running shot, and that's kind of where I want to keep this team. I want to keep this team at range, maybe like mid-range, like a 5 or 6 squares away from my opponent until he decides to come in on me. And when he does decide to come in on me, I want to make it extremely difficult for him to hit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the Manifold for some maneuverability, so I can move Miss Kang around, get her up in the action for her double PC, because that 4 range does really hurt. In playtesting, the 4 range has become an issue. Characters have been able to hit me from outside of that constantly. So I do want to get her up in the action a little bit easier. Another way to do this would be to give her... is there any way to give the Green Lantern team ability? No, there's not. So maybe giving her the cloak so she can fly, but you don't want to take it off of Saki. So I feel like Manifold's the best way because he does have that passenger too. He will give everybody combat reflexes, and I'm left with 20 points to put on rings and everything. Well, 15 because I have the cloak on Saki. To put on a ring or some other object that I want to. So that pretty 19 defense looks even better if she has defense, so I'm going to add the Captain Carter shield to her. Character. There's a T in there somewhere. Captain Carter shield, giving her the 19 defend, and Sicarian Iron Man loves a 19 defend. He's already modifying his defense by 2, so he's going to be at 21 as long as he stays adjacent to Miss Kang. And up close, everybody will be, hopefully, if I position correctly, everyone will be at a 21 defense with Manifold there, giving them combat reflexes if they do decide to come up close. And another thing I really like about this team is it's very stealth heavy. So something like an Emperor Gladiator should not be able to attack this team. I wish there was a way for me to add free Smoke Cloud to an Avengers theme team, but there really isn't at the moment. And being just 10 points under once I add the shield to this, or sorry, the cloak. Don't you guys love Jaws? I love it so much. I want them to make 5 of them. Go away. Go away. Go away. These ads drive me nuts. Okay, so 10 points under. There's a lot I could do here. What I really like is adding a ring. And I feel like the character that's going to be sitting there not really doing a whole lot, it doesn't really have anything, like Miss Kang, she's getting the Captain Carter shield, but she's also going to be TKing. And I want my character with the ring to be able to pop out a construct. So Jarvis, the only thing he's really going to be doing is his free action, remove a non-debris terrain marker. So he's not really going to be taking actions during the game. So let's give him the yellow ring. That way he has a -2 perplex to somebody's defense, to their attack, to their movement, to their range, something along those lines, so that I can really hinder my opponent from those 5 squares out. I guess I'd have to be 4 squares out. Now, this team, what really hurts it is, something like Deathstroke's Pulse Wave, if they are able to get a Scarlet Witch all the way up into it so they can shut off that defend. But if they are able to get that Scarlet Witch, or they do decide to come over and Pulse Wave, they're probably not killing anything. I feel like Jarvis is just as long of a dial as Hope Summers. So as long as Deathstroke rolls under a 4, they're not really killing anything. And as long as Scarlet Witch, I can stay in position to Scarlet Witch their Scarlet Witch, because I have multiple ways to get out of my own Chaos marker here. I have the ability to take out Scarlet Witch if she does decide to come up. Yeah, I really like this team, guys, and I feel like Avengers is only going to get stronger. I feel like I also need to get out of the mindset of Scarlet Witch, Sicarian Iron Man, Hope Summers. But those 3 pieces, they just mesh together so well for me. I did play them at Worlds, and I'm telling you guys, it feels just, if you were around back then and you know what I'm talking about, Goblin King, before he got his errata, was insanely powerful and kind of ruled the meta until Unimind came out. And I feel that way whenever I play these 3 characters together. Sicarian Iron Man choosing Running Shot. Hope Summers can take his sidestep running shot and then get TK'd out herself, something probably not here, but mid game or late game, her being able to take charge flurry as well. There's a lot there. So I really like this team, and I really like what Avengers has going for it right now. That being said, I am going to miss Batman, so I am going to keep working on that team. I just don't have anything concrete right now, and I haven't play tested with enough of my ideas to really bring them to you guys. I have play tested with this exact Avengers team against this Scarlet Witch team, and it's a 50-50 shot. It really comes down to dice rolls. If I'm able to kill that Scarlet Witch, then I win. If I'm not able to make that dice roll, which it's usually a 7, then I lose. So it's a 50-50 on whether or not I win or lose against that team, which I don't like, but I'm hoping that with the upcoming sets, Avengers just gets better. And maybe I haven't played with this team enough, and I'll tell you right now, I probably haven't played with this team enough to really understand the intricacies of Miss Kang and how she can work with her double PC, popping out the Chronal Echo Bystanders, Hope Summers Mastermind, the leadership placement, everything that goes along with this team. I probably haven't played with any of that enough. I do get the shield team ability that I also haven't played with enough. I really need to work on this team. So with all that out of the way, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it gave you some ideas for what you're going to see whenever you go to high level meta events. There are going to be teams out there that bring Scarlet Witch over to you turn 1. I want you all to be prepared for that. And I hope this video gave you some ideas for how to combat that insanely powerful strategy. So I hope you guys have a great week, great weekend, and enjoy the rest of it. Go Chiefs, and peace.
You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody and stained from the people who deceive me.